So have you ever actually asked yourself why a single tiny text message can completely ruin your entire day? Or, why a random passing memory can just make you smile out of nowhere, while another one still makes you tear up literally years later? And what about that crazy hammering in your chest right before an exam, even when you are 100% prepared? Well, the answer to all of this isn't just in your heart, it's actually wired deep inside your brain.
Welcome to today's Explainer. We're going to be breaking down the incredibly complex blueprint of human emotions. We're looking at the actual architecture of the emotional brain, exploring exactly how these powerful reactions are built, why they evolved in the first place, and, honestly most importantly, how we can better understand and manage them to construct a healthier life.
All right, here's our agenda for this explainer. First, the anatomy of an emotion. Second, happiness, fear, and sadness. Third, understanding anger and social emotions. Fourth, emotional intelligence. And finally, number 5, habits for your emotional health.
Okay, let's jump right into Section 1, Anatomy of an Emotion and Building That Foundation.
Now, a lot of people use these terms completely interchangeably, but psychology actually draws a pretty distinct line. An emotion is a rapid, super short-term brain response to something meaningful. Think about, say, seeing a stray dog sprinting right at you. Your brain instantly asks, safe or dangerous? And perhaps your body literally before you even have time to consciously think about it. Now, a feeling is your personal, subjective experience of that specific emotion. And a mood? Well, that's a much longer-lasting state that honestly might not even have one clear trigger. So the real takeaway here is knowing whether you're reacting to a brief, sudden flash or experiencing a slow buildup over a few days.
And that brings us to exactly why we have these short-term responses to begin with. Every single basic emotion serves a highly specific survival purpose. I mean, just imagine stepping out into busy traffic without fear to pull you back, or experiencing the loss of a loved one without sadness to prompt you to slow down and seek out support. Whether it's fear, happiness, sadness, anger, or disgust, each one acts as a vital biological text message for survival. We really need to reframe how we look at our feelings. They absolutely are not weaknesses, they are essential, hardwired tools that help us navigate and survive life.
Moving on to Section 2, Happiness, Fear, and Sadness, the core rooms of our emotional house. We all just want to be happy, right? But to get there, it is absolutely vital to understand something called hedonic adaptation. Let's say you get this massive promotion at work, or you finally buy that brand new phone you've been eyeing. Your brain releases a huge flood of rewarding chemicals that feel absolutely amazing at first. But our psychological tendency is to always return to our typical emotional baseline. Your brain literally gets used to the new normal, and that shiny new excitement just kind of fades. This perfectly proves that chasing temporary material rewards just isn't enough. Lasting happiness actually requires building a life of meaning, purpose, and deep connection.
And, just as happiness has a purpose, so does sadness. Most of us try to avoid it like the plague, but sadness is a completely natural, healthy emotional response that's actually encouraging us to slow down, reflect on things, and seek support from the people around us. Now, it's really important to note here that everyday sadness is distinct from clinical depression, which of course might require professional support, but that everyday sadness, it's a deeply necessary mechanism for healing and processing difficult experiences. It is definitely not a flaw that you should just ignore or suppress.
So, what exactly happens when these survival tools go into overdrive? Let's compare fear and anxiety. Fear is responding to a present, immediate threat. It's that crazy racing heart when you hear footsteps behind you in a dark alley. Anxiety, on the other hand, is all about worrying over future possibilities and uncertainty. It's your brain spinning its wheels, asking, what if I fail? Or what if the whole thing just goes wrong? Remember, anxiety is just your brain attempting to prepare you for future uncertainties. It is not actual proof that something terrible is definitely going to happen.
All right, Section 3, Understanding Anger and Social Emotions and Their Impact on Our Relationships.
Have you ever just exploded at someone and then instantly wondered why on earth you reacted so strongly? Anger is super fascinating because it's almost always a secondary emotion. Think of it like a bouncer or a bodyguard. Hiding underneath that tough, angry exterior is usually fear, sadness, severe disappointment, or some kind of emotional pain. Anger all by itself isn't a bad thing at all. It's just a red flashing light signaling that a personal boundary has been crossed. So the very next time you feel your temper flaring up, I want you to pause for a second and ask yourself, what vulnerable feeling might actually be hiding underneath this angry outburst? Then we have the emotions that we usually try our absolute hardest to hide. It's so easy to mix these two up, but they are clearly very different beasts. Envy is wanting something that someone else already has, but jealousy?
That is the deep-seated fear of losing something important that you already possess, like trust, attention, or your status in a relationship. Psychologically speaking, jealousy pops up to protect those bonds. But obviously, when it gets extreme, it completely destroys trust. So instead of becoming overly suspicious, a much healthier pivot is to ask, what can I actually learn from this situation?
And this brings us to another super critical comparison that basically dictates how we connect with others: guilt versus shame. Let's say you completely forget a close friend's birthday. If your internal monologue says, "I did something wrong," well, that's guilt. It focuses entirely on the behavior, and guess what? It's actually healthy. It motivates you to apologize and make things right. But if you think, "I am a terrible person," that is shame. Shame focuses on your core identity. It causes you to withdraw and makes you believe you can't grow or change. Recognizing this difference is absolutely vital for your own emotional growth.
So what happens when all these complex social emotions just completely overwhelm us? We cry, and we really need to bust the myth right now that crying is some sort of weakness, because it's not. Science shows us that shedding emotional tears is a uniquely human tool. It's literally an evolutionary method for communicating these incredibly complex emotions and encouraging both biological and emotional support from the people around us. Sometimes your brain and body just need a physical release to express the things that words simply cannot capture.
Moving into the home stretch, Section 4, Emotional Intelligence and Managing Connection.
So, the really crucial point here is this. Emotional intelligence is the buffer that keeps our emotions from making every single decision for us. It's a toolkit. It involves recognizing your own emotions, really understanding your triggers, managing your reactions, spotting emotions in other people, and responding with genuine empathy. It is the exact difference between exploding defensively when someone gives you criticism and actually pausing to listen calmly. You might not be able to control that initial feeling your brain sends you, but with high emotional intelligence, you absolutely learn to control your response.
But how do we actually do that in practice? Well, here are 5 actionable, totally science-backed steps to manage your emotions. Step 1, pause before reacting. Just give your brain a few seconds to catch up. Step 2, name your emotion. Are you just feeling bad, or are you actually feeling disappointed? Step 3, challenge your thoughts. Ask yourself if the threat is a cold, hard fact or just your brain's interpretation. Step 4, take care of your body. Drink a glass of water, take a deep breath. And Step 5, talk to someone you really trust. These steps beautifully intercept that raw biological reaction and give your logical brain a chance to step in and calmly reevaluate the whole situation.
And finally, Section 5, Habits for Emotional Health, Maintaining the Blueprint. When it comes down to it, daily maintenance is absolutely everything. Here are 7 psychology-backed habits for long-term emotional stability. First, get enough sleep. Your brain actually processes your emotional baggage while you're resting. Second, move your body. Even just a quick, short walk helps regulate your mood. Third, practice gratitude to balance out the brain's natural, annoying tendency to focus on negative threats. Fourth, build healthy relationships. Fifth, accept your emotions as signals rather than always trying to bury them. Sixth, reduce constant comparison. Seriously, get off the highlight reels of social media for a bit. And finally, number 7, just keep learning about yourself. It's honestly amazing how these simple daily actions so profoundly dictate our brain's emotional regulation.
To bring all of this together, let's firmly dismantle some of those pervasive cultural myths we've all heard. Strong people don't cry? False. Crying is perfectly normal and healthy. You should never feel anxious? No way. Anxiety is a completely natural response to uncertainty. Negative emotions are strictly bad. Actually, as we've seen, they're vital protective signals. You should always control your emotions. The reality is, you can't always control the initial spark. You only control your next action. Our psychological goal here isn't to become robots and stop feeling. Our goal is to understand. I want to leave you with this really powerful realization as you wrap up today's explainer. Your emotions don't define who you are. How you respond to them does. You are the architect of your responses. You are definitely not the prisoner of your initial feelings. When you truly understand your emotions, you're going to make better decisions. You'll build way healthier relationships, and you'll construct a much more meaningful life. So before you go, I want you to take just a quick moment to look inward. Think about the physical sensations in your body right now, or maybe a lingering mood you've had all day long. Which emotion is trying to tell you something right now? Take a pause, listen closely to the message your brain is sending, and decide exactly how you want to respond. Keep learning and keep growing. Thanks for joining me.